Will you shut that door for me? Thank you. Or he's not. I have no idea. I haven't heard from him. Okay. All right, let's get started, Gary.
Okay. United States flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of
America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let us pray. Oh Lord, thank you for the rains that we have received over the last few months. We pray for the safety of everyone in the county. Help us to have strong minds and good health. Watch over our first responders and the military as they watch over us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda is public comments. Anybody have any public comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to item 3, which is the approval of minutes from our previous commission.
No corrections or additions to the regular meeting on July 10th, 2023 and special meeting of July 17th, 2023.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I move to accept the minutes from last meetings.
Now second it.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Item 4 is to consider and or approve the county auditor's tabulated report to Commissioners Court. Lisa, did you have anything?
No.
Okay. Your motion?
Make a motion to approve the officer tabulated report.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, item,
Are you in
did you
favor?
vote?
I didn't hear what y'all were talking.
Oh, we were just the county auditor's tabulated report.
Oh, yes.
Okay, all right. Number 5 is work session on our bills. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Or do I hear a motion to approve payment?
I move to approve the bills.
I'll second it.
All right, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Item 7 is consider and or approve payroll.
I have new employees and separated employees. We have Marissa Velasquez as just the part-time temp librarian. And then Pedro Samuel Ponce. And
These are all new hires, right?
these are new hires.
Okay.
Yes. And then Baltazar Medrano, the airport manager. And then separated employees is Jasmine Gomez, a deputy, Lee Bergen, airport manager, and Daryl Thompson, a part-time airport lineman. And that's it on that. And then I did send y'all the comp time.
Yes.
Did y'all have any questions on the comp time report on that? I know we paid out a lot, so it's coming a little lower because we just paid out
Mhm.
a significant now.
Yeah, we gave
It's been a lot.
Yes.
The only thing I saw on that comp time report, Amy, was on that very back page where it listed like terminated.
We
Or-
have that for auditing purposes. The auditors wanted to know like when they're terminated. So this list will shrink after a year.
Okay.
We should
Well,
take those off.
It's like, can you look at this? It's like off. See, like here, this one first. But hers. should
Yeah,
be
some
here.
of these should be, some of these
And
are
like
just need to come down.
Here, hers should be deceased. and has-
Oh, it's off
So-
on the things. Okay, I'll talk to Kim and see where.
Just got,
Oh, it got off track when it was
Yeah.
printed. Oh, okay.
yeah,
I see what you're saying now. But yes, those will come off. A lot of those will come off.
Let me see. Here is this.
thank you. Okay, anything else?
Have any other questions on the comp time?
I didn't.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 8. Well, we didn't really have payroll. We just had the updates. Okay. Item 8, consider and or approve renewal for an additional 5 years with the Avenue Enterprise Solutions.
Yes, that's our full service indexing of our real property records, microfilm storage, our land records management system for the public to view, commissioner's court module for the public to view. It did increase 10%, but over the last 10 years. And I've sent it to Craig for review, but I have not heard back from him yet, but we've had them ever since I
Right.
can remember.
What's the
Avenue.
cost of that?
So. So it'll increase. So our microfilm goes up from $1.50 to $2. So the increase on that is $280.50. Let me get the total. It's. So for the index is 18,000. For the index. It's 1,500 per month. For 12 months. And then the land management is 1,190 per month for 12 months. So that's 14,280.
And we've had this for years and years.
I move to approve the renewal for 5 years to Avenue Enterprises Solutions LLC.
Can we say with pending approval from Craig
Yes.
on the,
Pending approval from the county attorney.
I'll second it.
all right, motion and second, any further discussion? All in favor? All right, item 9 is to consider and or approve transfer of opioid settlement proceeds to drug court line for conference attendance. So judge is in jury trial this morning. And I did y'all see that commentary that he sent in regards to sending 8 members of the drug court to, and they do get a grant or a scholarship, but I guess in the past the scholarship covered 4. And this year they only awarded 2 scholarships. So he's requesting funds from that opioid settlement to be transferred over to his drug court for the conference expenses.
I move to approve the,
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
How much money do we have in that line item?
So current available is $610. I got a call from Kimmy this morning and the total that they need to finish off the travel and lodging expenses is $3,312.28. And so since we had decided to fund drug court with the opioid settlement,
We'd already transferred what, 20?
it's $2,300 or $23,000 and some on. But we need to do an amendment. So to fund, so part of drug court will have to be funded by the general fund. And part of it is funded by the opioid settlement. And so we would have to do an amendment to fund a little bit more from the general fund.
We have
The total budget for is approximately $60,000. And normally we would just transfer 60,000 from general fund to cover it. But because we got the opioid settlement this year,
We only
we're only gonna
transferred
have 40 some. odd
47,
thousand.
yeah.
So we would just need to transfer more.
So how much balance do they have in that line item right now, or that's in the drug court?
$610.
That's all they have left
Yes.
out
No,
of
no,
the,
no, 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 no.
no opioid.
Just on the
Okay.
travel.
on the travel,
Total budget left in
in their drug court.
their drug court is about $15,000. They've got some money left for their treatment provider. I think that he's on a monthly. There's
Right.
some money in their defense counsel, but I don't know how often they.
Those are all,
There's some money in drug testing, so I don't know what their. Future budget for those line items. look
Mhm.
like. So he's just requesting the $3,300.
We had talked about the last time, possibly getting requests from any other people that might use that. We haven't got anything for any of the
Yeah,
opioids.
we haven't gotten another distribution from that settlement.
Well, we haven't got any requests or anything from anybody else, or like I did.
Y'all have any other questions?
Nope. I don't know what I'm motioning. Am I motioning amendment? Am I motioning? Doesn't seem like they got the legwork done yet.
It's an amendment, it's a budget amendment.
It would have to be.
Basic. I mean, that's what we're having to do. But because previously you had decided to fund the drug court $23,000, so that reduced the general fund amount that we would need to fund. So we need to
So we could,
amendment to put more general fund money in over there.
We should do that first and then.
we could move that 610 over. Right?
Yeah.
And then the rest of it would have to be,
610's already in that line.
So we moved-
$610.
oh,
What they have left in their travel, but they need
3312.
33, 12, 20.
So that would have to be an amendment from the general budget. Which does it come from
I think
contingency?
both of them should be an amendment.
Well, so we've already transferred over basically the $60,000 from general fund to fund drug court, but because we got this 23,000, we were gonna transfer back over at the end of the year, the amount that we don't need to use back over to general.
Okay, right.
So if we want to do an amendment, then it would just lower the amount that we're gonna have to transfer back over to the general fund at the end of
Gotcha.
the year.
Okay. So the motion would need to be an amendment.
Yes, just to make an amendment from the general fund for the 33, it would probably be 3313.
Should we not just have them fill out a budget amendment and then we approve it? Because this is just a request for a budget amendment. I think it could have been filled out and we approved that with the others that we're approving later, right?
We can't do amendments unless they're emergencies, like add to, but we're not doing a line item transfer, are we?
It's already there.
It's already there. It's just changing the amount of the transfer from the general fund.
I think we can authorize that.
Someone else can, I'm confused.
Anybody?
Yeah, because we have procedures.
And it's not really,
We do.
it's using more of, so
Of the money we've already put
I
there
don't know how, if I'm.
from the general
Right,
fund.
so there's
It's there.
60,000 that would have normally funded the drug court, 60,000. So because we got the 23,000, we said that was going to fund drug court, so then it would be 23,000 and 40 some odd thousand from the general fund.
What I would like to see is them fill out a line item transfer request that we approve later on. I think that's how we have people.
But they're not moving it from another
They're not
fund.
moving.
I'm not clear on this either.
I don't get it. I don't.
Yeah.
So if the money's already there, why are we even talking about it?
The money's not there. You have to amend to add to but you've gotten.
So we
other
set
revenue
aside
to come in.
$60,000, but their
It's just
budget,
like if we were to get grant revenue.
Yeah.
If they would have gotten a grant for 23,000, we would have to do an amendment to add that as a revenue and also as an expenditure. But because we didn't assign that $23,000 to any expenditure because it wasn't going to increase his drug court budget. So that's what he's wanting to do, is use some of that opioid settlement to increase his line item for travel.
And that's in the general fund?
No, it's in the drug court fund.
Oh,
so it's already there.
It's there. It wasn't assigned to anything other than funding drug court.
Right.
But just like with those grants and donations and stuff, we do that as an amendment when we approve all that stuff together. So that's why I'm not against it. I'm just saying I would like to see that. I mean, put it in that whole
Like our procedure.
line item, changes, transfers and budget.
So do you want to
Like,
talk about it, Darren?
So this is a drug court. This is money that was given and it was given to us that was never assigned to a line item. Correct?
Right, it was approved to fund drug court, so it was to fund all of those line items in drug, court,
Not just one specific,
not one
Item.
specific thing. Because
So-
otherwise the money comes from the general fund, so basically it was reducing the amount that the general fund was going to have to fund. the
It's
drug-
there, but it just wasn't assigned.
right,
So all we're doing is assigning it to a certain.
basically,
And
yes.
it's gonna,
budget.
yeah, it's just gonna change the amount that the.
But you gotta have an amendment to
Right.
put it to that line item.
So it's not a
And it probably could
transfer.
have been done on the
Like our
amendments,
normal-
but I wanted it to be, because it had already been approved for one thing to fund drug court. And now we're wanting to use it to increase a line item on drug court.
A
So
specific
that's
thing.
why I wanted it to kind of be separated. Because it will change the amount of the transfer from the general fund.
Basically, you're gonna give somebody here the information, how much and which line item, because I wouldn't know how to.
$3,313 for the travel line item.
So I'll practice my motion.
Okay,
I motion to move from the drug core or from the allotted amount from the opioid settlement to the drug court in the amount of $3,000, what'd you say?
$313.
$313.
You said 3 or 8, what'd you say, right?
33.
300.
$300,000.
313.
Two threes,
Thought you said eight.
$3,313 is what is needed to fund the rest of the state conference.
Okay, what you said. You got Kelly do I need to read it?
No, I'll get it.
Okay.
okay. So we have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
So I understand why, but I'd like everything to be like we with all of our procedures normal. Because you worked hard, these are your procedures. I'd like to maintain them with that one, with all of them.
This isn't a normal, okay. Next time I'll put on the budget.
So,
All right. We're gonna skip down to our ARP grant projects because we have some guests here and that we have a couple of people that need to leave. And so, Terry, do you have something you want to throw up there? And I think put it in the Dropbox for y'all to look at the ARP grant request from Jerry for the siren project. Alan, is that why you're here? You all know Alan Wells in the city of Stinnett and John, is it John? Brent Sheets from the city of Fritz. Why did I say John? I don't know.
it's the way he combs his hair. Yeah, I'll do that.
There's a lot of info here.
Yeah, this was several months of putting some information together. I was asked by the commissioners here to look at our countywide siren situation. And to look at what it would take to upgrade or replace some of the sirens that the county currently has, but also to look at the other municipalities where they're at with it. And the easiest way to kind of bring everything together for where and really looking at, like, say, the Barrington situation or the Matador situation when it comes to siren and activation. This system is, top notch as far as technology and automation. The City of Border actually had upgraded to the sirens after we'd actually applied for a grant for the sirens in 2018 due to Hurricane Harvey. They would actually cut a lot of funding to them. We had lost our grant when we applied for this back then. And then in that grant was a county-wide system. It was upgrading Border, Prince, Annette, Sanford, adding additional sirens in the unincorporated areas of the county, and as well as updating the activation side of the system as well. I provided you some of the information. This is just some statistics on outdoor warning sirens, kind of what they're used for, what we can use them for, what some of the percentages of activation and whatnot. As y'all already know, this year we've actually activated sirens within the county. It's been kind of a busy year with severe weather. But you can see that on this right here, you'll see what sirens currently exist within the municipalities, what we're looking at adding or replacing, and then the completion after the project's completed, what we would have total for the project. Now it'd be adding an additional 16 sirens within the county. If you can scroll. I kind of laid out just a little as being in, y'all do approve something to this, and I kind of want to just throw this out on the table as this is the number for the project. This is a complete turnkey number to get the sirens in place, to get everything connected, automated, and whatnot. That's the final total. Yeah, sticker shock.
Eyebrows are going up, so.
So this is a very in-depth, this would be a big project for the county, getting these added, especially getting them put out into remote areas where we don't even have sirens now. We've never had sirens. Adding additional sirens to Bugby and to Lake Meredith Harbor and Double Diamond. So we don't have sirens in those areas outside of one privately owned siren at Lake Meredith Harbor. But so this is a very big project. It'd be a very big project. So I wanted to kind of lay out right here what, if we did have this approved, kind of how I see the project going as far as myself and how we work the project with the commissioner's court and of course the auditor and working with the municipalities and getting this done and getting it done. As far as the project, like I said, I wanted to give it all to you, and then if you wanted to look at maybe if you wanted to start cutting sirens back to get the price down or whatever, we could start looking at that. Definitely look at doing that if you approve the project. Another side of this is after we put these sirens in play, if we get this system going, there's going to be additional costs in the future. There's always going to be this software side of it, which I think I would have that cost in there.
$37.50 a year.
Correct. And then of course the maintenance of the siren and the upkeep, because these sirens are completely off-grid siren. There's solar panel with batteries. They're not connected to the power grid. The controllers are actually radio activated. So we would have a repeater that actually sends out the signal to the siren. So it's not connected to phone lines through the power grid, anything like that. They're completely off-grid. So the maintenance is going to be another, and that's why I kind of wanted to bring these guys here. So if y'all had questions or what they could do or what y'all would like to see, they could go back and ask questions, whatever. But I wanted to bring it, put it out on the table, just see if y'all had any questions or anything about that, you can ask me. You guys scroll down into the mapping. Oh, here's the actual quote from the company that we're working with. This is a federal signal system. I believe the refineries that both Chevron and Phillips, they both run the same system as well as Border does. This system would actually tie in with the Border sirens as well. So like I said, it would be a legitimate countywide.
They use the same company.
Correct.
For Phillips, Border.
Phillips, Chevron, City of Border,
Federal signal, yes.
Yes,
The 3750 is the only recurring cost.
that's the software annual cost that we would have to keep up with, yes.
That doesn't,
Not on,
The
not,
license, the 53.
they said that was a one-time expense.
then the only other expense would be like batteries and routine maintenance.
The batteries,
You have an annual cost, so for. I figured I saw it in there somewhere.
Yeah.
$37.50.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
that's
For
the
software.
annual software.
That's the only one.
Maintenance, annual maintenance software that we would have to keep up with. The battery situation, these are spec'd at a 4 to 5 year battery. So the batteries would need to be budgeted to be replaced in that 4 to 5 year time frame. And I don't know how often do y'all have those service down?
So we were serviced in 2016. That's when I had my battery.
Well,
6 years.
6 years.
So there's 3 different options with the batteries they give you. They give you the lead acid battery, which they said is a 2 year battery. This is a gel type battery. And I said it's a 4 to 5 year. Then they can do the lithium, which is the 6 to 8 year battery. So I just told them to hit me at the middle of the road. And whatever we decided to, if we wanted to upgrade or downgrade, do the price, we can do that.
This is a great idea. I mean, it needs to be done, but the cost is it's a little hard to take.
How much is the battery each time?
I don't remember what, so each panel makes 4 batteries. So each cylinder takes 4 batteries.
So it'll be 64 batteries. 16.
Yeah,
Before I remember him saying, I don't know if I have it broke down on the battery.
I couldn't find it.
Are these batteries something special or are they something we can get local or what?
They're,
Some double
well,
A's.
they were.
Walmart.
Yeah,
I think
Battery out.
it's all on a global system, so it's not.
Just called batteries plus. They got
Yeah,
something.
battery Joe.
So the battery, they're not something that you go buy at the automotive store.
Yeah.
So I thought about that because I could have actually told you what the batteries were in there, and tie them together. That way it operates, maintenance that's done on them. You can tell maintenance wise. It can run a self-test on itself and tell you issues that are wrong with it. And then you can get someone out there to actually make repairs, or you can actually reset it and see if that's all it needs is just a reset. Like I said, my system at Chevron Phillips has been in place since 2013. And we were at 2016, 2017 was the year we replaced the batteries, and then I replaced them again in 2022. And I only had 1 speaker module that had to be replaced in that, and 1 solar panel or one of them had to be replaced.
So the ones that system that order has, like I said, what they're using. Kind of what he said, the system itself sends out a test. We have that one set up. It sends out a test every morning at 8 o'clock. It sends a signal to the siren. Siren sends something back saying, got the signal, everything's good with the siren. And then once a month, we do an actual physical sounding of the siren to make sure that mechanical pieces are running properly as well. But this actually will send us a report every day. These sirens are operational, or this one had an issue. Go out and check that siren individually. So it's a very, very nice system, definitely way different than anything we have. So, but as far as the coverage, you can see that on the maps here. You can see the yellow ring are the recommended 80 decibel ring. So anything within the ring is at 80 decibels. When it gets louder, of course, the closer to the siren you get. So that would you'll see that covers that you're going to get with those sirens, and adding the additional sirens to it, like the Bugby, the city of Sanford, that siren, they have one there at the water tower. It's it would pretty much cover their whole town. Lake Meredith Harbor, and then the Bridge Fortress. We don't currently have any sirens there other than one at the clubhouse at Lake Meredith Harbor, and it's not tied into our system or any of the French Fire Department system. Double Diamond is also, there's not one there, so that'd be in addition. The other ones at the city of French have are the fire station, the grocery store, Sage, the baseball field, close to the baseball field. Then we would get the additional one there in Old Verde. That one doesn't work, and we get that one operational.
Do you have all the sites to put these,
So
that commitment that we can put them there?
so everything we would install would be in either a county or city right of way.
Okay.
So everything would be on city or county property with some sort of interlocal agreement with the city to do that.
What do they cost per siren?
But they are broke down on the spec sheet here. So that one right there, Dwight, explain that real fast. So this right here, the only thing that the federal signal wouldn't do is the UHF repeater. And that would be something that through our Motorola company, South Plains Communication, had to spec out a UHF repeater for the activation. That's why you see this is separate, and that total amount at 11,570.
So that's for all of them.
That's the repeater side. That's the activation for the repeater we would have to install here. At our
Right.
tower. And then Federal Signal does the rest of the siren installation, all the technical end of it to get it tied into the rest of the system. It was roughly, I'm gonna say it was roughly $50,000 per siren. As far as when you start adding it up, it was in the $50,000 mark per siren. So it was sold quite a bit.
Is any of the equipment we got now, is any of it usable?
So, well, some of the siren, a lot of the siren heads don't work. Like I say, the Royal Verde one, it hasn't operated in 25 years. So as far as getting the signal to it, it was very old. I couldn't test it right now. Some of the stuff is operational. I would say like the Stinnett siren or the county barn here in Stinnett. I know they test that siren at their fire department meetings. So I know the head is operational. So some of that is, yes. And you could, in the system, you can take the controllers and you can put it with some of the older stuff, because you're really just activating a mechanical wheel inside of a housing. And that's what makes that.
Some of the panels in Border have solar panels on them already, right?
Those are all the new sirens. So they upgrade.
So they wouldn't
everything.
have to be messed with.
Right. All of their stuff, pretty much what ours would do is we would install our stuff and then we tie it in to their system as well. So our system.
All of these are either going to be in Stinnett, Fritch, or the unincorporated areas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We need to be a little-
Border's got their own.
I never knew there was one out here at the county barn until you told me, because I live just right up the road.
Yeah.
And I've never
Yeah.
heard it once.
So these sirens are louder. They actually have a deeper tone, and they're like I said, even with, you'll see that map at 80 decibel. 80 decibel is what they said is the minimum you want. You don't really want to go below that, because if you're even just random wind noise is about 35 decibels. So you're gonna start to cancel out hearing the siren.
So one positive item with this map doesn't overlap as much. The sirens, that is one of the issues that we have out at the facilities, is the sirens are so close together and they've got the volume set up. I want to say it's supposed to be at 120. And when it does, it bounces each other. So there, you can't hear a constant. With the way these are set up, they're separated enough that you shouldn't get the bounce that you would with the ones that we have.
So with the municipalities and stuff, has there been any like preliminary talks on like interlocal agreements about like cost sharing, like maintenance or battery replacement or anything about that going forward?
Just kind of what we had talked about.
Yeah, and I think since we're in the baby step process of it, as we move further, number one, we gotta consider our citizens over certain items. So I mean, as speaking for myself and for the city of Bridge, I mean, for the annual costs and the maintenance, I don't see an issue with the cities taking that responsibility. With assistance getting them installed, that would be, we would have to sit down and talk about that. But the actual cost of maintenance of the maintenance and annual cost for those that are going to be in free, I don't see why it shouldn't be my responsibility to help the county.
I appreciate that. And just my opinion, I mean, I don't have a problem with because we have the ARP money up front to make sure that we protect our citizens, just because I know, I mean, there's always discussions across municipalities, Borger's doing all theirs, so why are you paying first? And then why are you paying for fridge? So just not saying to have a ton of teeth in the game, but just to have some type of interlocal. So I appreciate that willingness.
I remember when, yes, I remember when I was mayor, when you first brought this to our attention. And, we as a city of Fridge decided we would throw, what was it, 19,000 or 20,000, something like that. Yeah, to kind of get this up and running. And then when Harvey took the money from us, which they needed it, so it's not a bad thing. I just know recently, when I reached out to Jerry, my phone has rang off the hook with all the tornadoes and in Fridge, they're saying, we haven't heard the siren go off at all.
Right.
Yeah, and
And I
so,
think what's happened in our area has got people
Yeah.
worried that there won't.
and they really get panicked whenever I tell them, well, that siren hasn't been working since 92. And they're like, that's why I haven't heard it.
Yeah, and I mean, the expense of $500,000 does seem like a lot, but when we have ARP money, I mean, and if something does, God forbid, happen, I mean, you can't replace lives that we can say, well, we could have taken this decision and gone forward with it, but it was just too expensive. I mean, that's just, when you deal with a small town.
The automated, it's just advantage as well, instead of somebody having to run and.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a good point. I'm glad you brought it up. So the automation side of this is, the system actually works directly with the weather service. We set up zones in the county. So if there's weather service, it's 2:00 in the morning, issues a tornado warning for, say, city of Sanford. And that zone would be activated directly by the weather service. It's not me getting up, running up there, hitting a button or even
Getting up and keying up your radio or something.
doing anything like that. It automatically activates the siren based off the weather service tornado information. So,
And isn't that what happened when the tornado sirens went off in Borger
yes,
earlier,
so-
that they were activated?
And the weather service didn't zoom in quite enough, so he actually clipped the top end of Border, which is where we have the automated polygon. And whenever it clipped the top end of Border, it set all the sirens off. So
You'd rather have it safe.
it was justified
Yeah.
because it was so close anyway.
Yeah, it was.
They were trying to be nice and not put Border in that warning because it was so far north, but it ended up clipping it anyway and set off sirens. But it's a really good test. It worked out really.
So I know at the plant, you'll have different sounds and I definitely know we don't want to confuse our citizens. Are these able?
Single tone.
They're just single tone. Okay.
So you're gonna have the same tone, whether it's a wildfire or whether it's a tornado or whether it's.
Yes, so the single tone sirens, the way you so the speaker array sirens are good. You have a lot of different functionality with them. They don't quite get the distance whenever you're working in a little smaller area.
And it would confuse citizens.
Yeah,
Like, what's that?
What is that?
If it's possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And these.
that's what I was worried that if it's kind of like the plant, they have different, and I didn't, can you imagine?
We can just give them a microphone. We don't have to go outside and just yell.
So yeah, single tone, and these are, they're a little bigger, have a little more oomph to them to try to get that, because we're in more remote areas. We wanted to get as much effects out of these sirens as we can. So that's why we chose the single tone, a little bit bigger siren.
And I do want to go on the record. There are some citizens that think that we are just cutting corners and not managing their stuff. But Jerry and I got on the phone with a citizen, and we've had a couple since then, or I have. They think we're just being lazy and not wanting to maintain these. And some of those sirens cannot be maintained.
They're just
Yeah.
all,
They just cannot be, yeah. So I'm saying it publicly because you may not have received phone calls, but I have. And they think we're not fixing the sirens because we don't want to. They can't be.
That one citizen was upset and he wants his, and I explained, what the commissioner's court has done with even with the weather alert radios. To get that, the weather service, I can tell you how happy they are that we have that thing because, and this went off like crazy. That thing works ridiculous. It works really well. But we provide that service for weather alert radios. We provide the service for Everbridge as our mass notification system, which also does weather alerting. Those systems are really good because they still give somebody, they don't just tell them, hey, there's something bad going on. It also tells them what they need to do in certain situations, if it's evacuation, whatever. The public outdoor warning sirens it's a very good tool. It's an old school tool, and it's something you still need to have in your pocket because it's something that you're able to hit a large amount of people by literally a push of a button. So it's really beneficial for us to provide it. But it is a single point of contact. It's like it's a big loud sound to say, hey, you need to go find out what's going on. And the other systems are there to say, hey, this is what's going on. You need to do this. So it's a tiered process.
It's a part of a big package.
Yeah, very big.
so big push for Everbridge too.
Yes.
If you're not signed up, get signed up.
Everbridge.
Yeah, it's free.
Everbridge and the weather alert radios. So that's something that the county has provided to the citizens and they need to take advantage of that.
Good to have all three of the elements.
Yeah, I mean, it's good.
Or to bring it to you, if y'all have any more questions.
What else needs to be worked on this to have it perfected to where you're sure this is it? We're not gonna have hidden cost.
So our federal signal contact, one of the biggest pieces to this is on the map. We did situate sirens for coverage. We'll probably looking at it, we might have to adjust one, 200 feet this way or a little bit on the mapping on the coverage. So I want to get with federal signal and they're going to provide an actual, a study for the sounds, and because there is topography and things like that they actually can put into their computer system on that end of it. On our hidden cost side, I tried to look at everything I could think of as in, I have specific emails. What are we going to have to pay for in the future?
So for that study, will they,
That is provided by them.
so it's provided,
Yeah,
there won't be a
that's
fee for
something
that,
they're gonna-
like an engineering fee or something.
Outside of that, being that it's an off-grid type system, everything is, the install and everything was included in the price, so everything should lay into that total amount there. On the system itself, the only reoccurring cost was that $3,700 for the software. And then, like I said, maintenance on how you'll have to work out interlocals. I wish I could say there's not gonna be a.
Keep thinking about the tires already.
No, I understand. I wish I could say there was not gonna be a roadblock here or there. We might have to go.
So from start to finish, do we have any idea the length of time?
So in this situation here, we're gonna try to look at having everything completed and everything by next storm season. That would be the end
So
goal.
by like next April or May,
Yeah, whenever we talk about storm season, we usually by the end of February.
February?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's quick. That's
It
better
is.
than
It's very quick. Makes me nervous. So.
It makes it easier when they're standalone. We don't have.
Yeah, you don't have to run the wire.
Right, we don't have to work with Excel or anything like that to tie in power lines.
That is
to complete install.
That's
Yeah.
Only thing I would like to point out on the budget side is the plan that we made for the ARP we're down to $197,612 for this fiscal year. So we would have, if you approve it for this fiscal year, we would have to move some of the money that we were gonna plan to use for
For next. Mhm.
fiscal year over.
Also, Alicia, she got me with the companies through the TIPS program.
Mhm.
So Alicia was helping me out with that, making sure that.
So it doesn't have to go out for a bid because it is with the co-op.
You know, like what's planned this year. I mean, we also was looking at generators for the courthouse, looking at AC heat units and all this will be postponed to the next year. So something's got to wait till next year or move it over.
Just they move it over. I mean, that plan was always soft, like a soft plan anyway. So I mean,
I don't think that's really,
well,
If,
it has
if,
been by our actions and our decisions, so. I mean, this is something that we need to have in store for our citizens. I mean, the prescribed burns and stuff that our fire departments have done has kind of created a good safety hazard for that, or safety precaution for that, but this is something that, I mean, we don't have in place for, I mean, God forbid something happen next year. So I mean, if something has to be delayed, I mean, I just think we can move it from, we never voted on an actual format of doing stuff and we've strayed from that several times. So it's not a big deal to me to bring it over and just take it. I mean, we're still gonna have just a little under $1 million left of funds. And if we have good, I've always looked for a good project to inject like for decades of this type of project. And this is kind of a once in a season type of thing that we're going to be able to do for our citizens. So
what is our total funds in LP right now?
1,454.
$1,454,000.
Billion four.
Four. And we did just get the notification that the second tranche, whatever that word is, for the LATCF, that we got that additional.
$50,000.
Yeah, was it 50,000? It was 100,000.
Oh, well, I thought they did 50-50.
Yeah, 50 and 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that we did our,
100,000, we've gotten 50, we're
Yeah.
gonna get the next 50. It's ready to be drawn down. Add another 50,000 on to.
Well, as Jerry knows, I'm a huge fan of this, have always been, especially when the citizens started calling. So we waiting for motions,
We need to talk about
what do we also need?
finance and stuff.
We need to transfer it. So do we transfer first or wait? Or just say, this is something we'll talk about next meeting?
Well, the transfer, it's not like a formal thing. It's just on my little spreadsheet that I've been keeping track of. So
Okay.
it's not.
I would like to table this to the next meeting and make sure that we crossed all our T's and dotted all our I's. It's,
I think we need to know where Fritz and Stinnett stand too, as far as what they can do on the initial
I think we
installation.
need everything set in stone, or as best we can anyway.
So
before
do
we
you
start
guys
making-
meet anytime soon that you can discuss it?
You let me know what day, what. And I'll discuss it.
Well, I mean, with your people, like,
What are they
City
discussing?
council.
I need to know if,
Yeah.
I mean, the annual cost, like I said, and the maintenance, I have no issues with. Cause that is workable for our budget now. The initial installation, I think that's when the county and the municipalities need to come and sit down and have a accurate cost. So I've got numbers to take back to the council.
Okay.
For them.
So what are we asking the cities though? That's what
Yeah,
I'm
we need-
confused about.
like what their part is. What's
would
your
their-
part gonna be in the startup? Because we didn't
So-
pay any of Borger's. Borger did their own.
Okay.
So I just think there needs to be something from,
Tell me.
Yeah, that's something that we're gonna have to decide. I mean, we don't just.
say, well, we're
You
gonna
tell us.
fund everything. I think that's where the conversation needs to be.
See,
Well,
well,
I think it's apples, oranges, but I may make y'all mad, because I don't think they should have to pay anything. I don't think they can. Right now.
Don't make,
This was-
no, nothing.
This was our idea, not their
Well, no,
idea.
they're willing to, yeah.
They're willing to do the maintenance, but
Yeah.
this was a county idea.
So
not-
nothing for the
They
startup.
didn't come to us, Fritz and Stinnett didn't come to us and say, hey, would y'all help us with our sirens? We went to them and then we went back to them many years later and said, hey, here's what we won. So it's kind of it's like, hey, we want to do this for you, but we want you to pay for it. A portion of it. Sounds weird to me. If it was their idea, yes. But if they came and said, hey, we need y'all's help, could y'all help us with this? Then of course, yeah, but this was my idea. This was.
This wasn't just your idea.
Well, what I'm saying is, this was something I brought.
Be clear about this.
Okay, I'm glad. And so, but this is not the city came to us. This was citizens in the county that called and said, what are y'all doing with our sirens? And so
Okay.
that's why I just feel like now going to the city, now maintenance, annual maintenance, yes, I totally agree with that.
Right. Okay.
But as far as startup,
Startup.
they didn't ask us for it. So
Has these conversations been had? Has they discussed it to say, well, they probably wouldn't participate with this? We're not saying that.
Well, it's not our responsibility to make it to it.
If there's conversations that could be had, I don't know.
I mean, he just spoke on his behalf of saying like,
On behalf of Fred Shop talked to
yeah,
Jerry, and we've had more than one discussion about it.
I mean, at the end of the day,
Same.
sorry, Brent. At the end of the day, I mean, this is free money. This is not us. I mean, this is free money that we get to spend on our taxpayers and our citizens here. Like Dwight said, this is something we thought of, well, and I don't even want to say we, like
Yeah.
the county thought of. And
so apparently somebody did.
when you guys are willing to say, like, we are willing to take that, I mean, that we're having that conversation now. I mean, I don't have a problem with fully funding the installation and the upfront things to get this in order. As long as, you know, like you said, in good faith, you were saying, you know, maybe the maintenance and down the road, because that is more budgetable. I mean, when
Yes.
we're talking Border paid for their stuff. Border has a budget that is far more than these municipalities. And so saying, you know, 5,000 a year for you guys is doable versus like, can you throw in 60,000? Like, I mean, that's a lot of money for municipalities. And for me to get into that, to get off into the woods when we're talking about an investment from ARP money, when we have the chance, is hurting our citizens more than just trying to dangle things and say, what can we get from it? When we have this money that's not costing us or our taxpayers anything. I mean, we're using this money on repairs around, like cosmetic repairs around buildings, which is fine, which is needed, but if we have a chance to actually make
Have a
an
big
investment
project.
into our citizens, we're worried about what else can you guys throw into it? I mean, this is money that we were given, that we are responsible to make sure that we use it the best that we have. So I personally have no problem with upfronting, putting the bill up front and then kind of good faith conversations with you guys around maintenance and because I mean, y'all are here today having those conversations. I know you wouldn't speak in unless you had the backing and good faith of your people.
I could work on the interlocal agreement between us and the cities on the maintenance and
Future.
then I can get that to y'all. Y'all can look at make sure that's good on that end of it. They can get that approved through their councils and then we'll have that legal agreement between the two on what's going to happen in the future when this comes available, when it comes up.
And I'm fine with the maintenance stuff. I'm not fine with asking them to pay for it. Since they didn't come to us to ask for it.
I mean, would that even change our decision if they said they're not willing to pay anything? I mean, we have a responsibility in this money. I mean, I'm not going to say no if they say they're not willing to pay. Well, forget Sanford, forget Fritch, forget Stinnett, and that's not. And this is free money. So, but if there's a bigger issue we need to talk about, we can. I mean, they're here to pass it on. But I'm on board. That sounds like you are too. So,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm ready.
I'll just wait for y'all, but I'm ready. If y'all want to table it, I'll talk about it next meeting.
What do we need to table it
You're
for?
going to make a motion. Or
Okay, I'll make a motion.
wait for you.
I move to approve the siren purchase for Hutchinson County in the amount of, from ARP in the amount of $529,735.88 from the ARP fund.
What?
Just general. Oh. You want us to?
Add something in the motion about,
And like, I mean, this is your motion, you have.
Yeah, so do I need to state in the motion that we're pulling from the,
to
Yeah, I would,
move those
I would
funds.
put it in your motion, yes, to move from next year's planned funds.
move from next year's planned funds
This makes no sense.
to this account?
Okay,
I second.
all right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, all right, motion carries. Thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for being here, y'all. Appreciate you. Gary, I know that was a lot of work on the budget. Okay, we'll come back to you, Julie, okay? All right, item 10 on the agenda is to consider and or approve jail commissary services agreement. Andy, did you have anything on that or? I got this from Laura and it's I guess the commissary service agreement that we've used for years and that it's just time to renew the agreement. Craig has looked at it, didn't have any problems with the form.
Monica's here too. You can see her.
Oh, I'm sorry, Monica. Didn't see you back there. I can't see over the podium.
We did have Craig look at it again. He did ask for a little bit of wording to be changed.
And they got that changed. Yes.
Change that and basically we're just moving forward and have the last 4 years.
Move to approve the jail commissary services agreement as presented. And this has those changes, right? That's what you're saying? Okay.
Yes, this was the updated one. I hear a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? And Monica, the only other one we're waiting on is the communications one, right? Because Laura sent me two. It was the commissary and then one about the telephone or something.
They are the same company.
Okay, well, I don't have that one back. This is the only one she sent back with the corrected wording. So we can put that other one on the agenda next time if y'all are, just let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, item 11 is to consider and or approve incident management software system interlocal agreement with the city of Borger. This is for the D4H, right, Jerry?
Yes.
Okay, so we just discovered that we didn't actually have a hard copy agreement with that. And this was the D4H, which manages like when there's an incident, they can build an incident and then put notes in there. So everyone that's involved with the incident has real-time updates, correct? Am I correct with that?
Yes, it's the way we document any, any weather events or anything that we do, we actually build it into the system and on top there. So if there's something we need to archive the data and bring it back later.
Like a wildfire or something.
Right. Anything that we do in emergency management or any incident that we activate, we use that system to document. And we budgeted for this for the last several years, but we haven't, but we should said we didn't have the
We didn't actually have to reduce it to writing.
We're reimbursing Borger. We're
right.
not
We
paying.
pay half and half on the system, so it's the document to show that we're paying it.
And I have sent this to Craig and he's approved.
I move that we approve the incident management software system interlocal agreement with the city of Borger.
So this will be retroactive, right?
Yeah.
No, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, item 12, consider and or approve the House Bill 3474 juror provision to increase pay for jury services. Probably don't have a choice, do we?
Do you want me to? So on this, right now we pay $10, when they show up and then pay them another $5 once they're picked. So we get reimbursed right now. We don't get reimbursed for the first day, as of right now, but we do if they show up the second day, third, or so on. We do a quarterly report that we send to the comptroller and
then they
us for that money. So what they did this House bill to increase it. I think they were having trouble with showing up for jury duty. So I think that was a little bit of why they had up this as well. So right now we do 10 to show, which I'd like to keep it 10 to show if we can do that, and then 10 once they pick. So you can get up and we'll actually now get reimbursed for that whole 20 for the first day now. So
so what do we pay now?
we pay 15 right now. So we pay 10 when they show, and then if they're picked,
They get
another
15.
$5 for the first day.
Right.
And then the second day, if they go into the second day, or they get 40, to where that has increased, where we'll get reimbursed up to 58. So we could increase that to 60 for the second day, because we're getting reimbursed for 58. When you're paying the jury, because we pay cash, it would be a nightmare if we didn't make it an even
Right,
number.
right,
If that's
58,
why
yeah,
you're
would be
wondering
crazy.
why to pay the other $2, you know, it would be a nightmare.
We don't have fives and ones.
We do, but it would be,
Quarters.
it would make it kind of difficult. So I don't know if you'll see the line this morning.
Yeah, I heard out of
So if I
300,
was
they had
trying to
200
get,
and
you know, change for everybody. I think it would make it kind of difficult. So I thought they had a really good crowd, which
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
But so that's my idea. But if y'all have another suggestion on that, y'all let me.
But legislature is going up.
It's no matter what, we have September 1st, we have to change it by September 1st. So why I wanted to present this is because we're gonna be budgeting and that way we'll have that in. So. Okay.
Any questions for Amy? Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve the HB 3474 juror provision to increase pay for jury services as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, item 13 is to consider and or approve any ARP grant projects. And the only project that I had was the one that Jerry gave me. But however, we do have item 14, a report from Julie Winters with Hutchinson County United Way on the progress of the mental health initiative that they're doing, and then also an update on the funding.
Well, just want to thank you.
And I laid this at y'all's.
Yeah, I was on vacation last week, so I was not timely in some of this. As you can see on this, my 2 part-time peer support specialists have helped 65 peers. This is the last 3 months for 361 hours. They're in a HRSA training, which is free to us. And so the state is providing them all the training that they need so that I know that the people that we've hired are able to do the job that they're doing and do correctly. And so with the hours of the training that they received so far this past 3 months, it helps them with crisis support, diversity, and being able to facilitate groups. As you can see, there's a multitude of areas that they've been able to help people with. Domestic abuse, parental concerns, anxiety, depression, medication concerns, divorce, helping them with jobs, just encouraging them on the pathway that they're down. The interesting part of this is that we've really not advertised anything, and yet people are hearing about it and utilizing these services. And of course, for the community, this is public services. So where they're going to a counselor, they're going to have to pay for it. This is one-on-one, and they're getting some services to help them as well. one of the interesting things is that there have been some people in the community that probably can afford to pay for services. But because of the high profileness of them, this gives them a chance to see someone in a very natural setting where there's not that stigma or judgment of mental health concerns and issues. So a very safe place for people to be. Yeah. We are looking, we're in the process right now. We're just beginning to interview people for the second part-time peer support specialist that we also have pending for. So we're in process of that. We, as far as our RAP training, the wellness recovery action plan, we have another level 1 training scheduled in October and a level 2 training scheduled in November. The level 2 training is kind of a train the trainers. We're trying to get this to where we have another people where we can do development on ourselves and we don't have to bring anyone else in. And so we're just going through that process of getting people trained so that we can take care of our own people. And just then, once that happens, we'll be able to figure out how to implement this and really use it for the entire community, whether we're reaching out to the schools or individuals. I did talk to Judge Mosley quickly, just kind of asking him about Rico being with drug court. He feels like this has been a good asset to the team. He has a group support on Tuesday nights, I believe, and that apparently is going very, very well.
I will say he has come to county court too, and I know at least once and sat through and was maybe speaking to some of his people. So
Just really there, just encourage.
He's just here. Yeah.
Just trying to encourage people, keep them on track, trying to prevent them from backsliding a little bit and just letting them know that, hey, if you know, it's kind of that if I can do this, sometimes to do this as well. So I just think that things are proceeding nicely and just appreciate how y'all are helping. So do y'all have questions? Anything for us?
So you said all these people you've served, where do they come for those services?
The interesting part with peer support is even though like Rico has an office next to mine, and so his people sometimes come in there, but typically it's a lunch meeting or it's at the park. It's very inconspicuous.
Okay.
People don't really realize that that's what people are coming for.
Right.
I know that when I do a lot of walks in the park and just talk to the people as they're there. A lot of times, like with Rico, and I think with Amber too, they're just they may be helping someone get their social security card, and it's that in the car time of one-on-one time.
Right.
We've also Judge Mosley and Judge Brancho have been in contact with Judge Hand and Amarillo, kind of looking at how we might jive with his mental health court and figuring out, because his court is available to all of the 26 counties of Texas Panhandle. We're just figuring out how we might can do it to where Hutchinson County is a part of that. And I don't know the right terminology, but like the cases would have to be released to Judge Hand.
Right.
So they're just kind of in those talks. I don't have anything to do with it other than that we just kind of encourage the conversation. And they're trying to figure out if that's something that we might get benefit as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions for Julie? So what we need to do is just, she submitted the reimbursement request for $13,044.36. And, you know, she's itemized all of that out with the supporting documentation. I believe I sent you all.
Yeah.
Just need a motion to approve that.
I move to approve the submitted amount of $13,044.36 to Hudson County United Way for reimbursement from the ARP.
Right.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. Julie, thank you. Thank you for everybody doing that work in our community. We appreciate it. Okay, item 15 is to consider and or approve the burn ban or rescind the burn ban.
Currently our dread index is a 122, so.
Back in the triple digits.
This
Along with the
next week is,
temperature.
this week is gonna be a little hot. So we're still pretty low, so that's same way.
Thank you. Item 16, consider and or approve disposal of obsolete office equipment. I don't think I had any. I did. I'm with me. I think I had any. Item 17, accept certificates of completion from elected or appointed officials.
Kelly Ratliff, County Clerk, submitted certificate for fiscal year 2024 Texas Cybersecurity course with Secretary of State for House Bill 3834 for 1 hour. That's all I have.
Okay.
Do you know this, Kelly?
I do know this.
Item 18, consider and or approve request for use of club rooms at the Border Library or Fridge.
So there's a baby shower August 19th. That's all got up to date.
Okay,
And I have nothing as at this time.
okay, thank you. Item 19, consider and or approve line item changes, transfers and or budget amendments.
I just had a new line item transfers, one for the IT department, one for the sheriff, one for JP2, one for the maintenance, and then the ARP projects for that were approved at last quarter.
Move to approve the line item changes budget amendments as presented.
Second,
I'll second.
motion and second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor? If you all will sign that, please. Item 20, consider and or approve advertising, opening, accepting or awarding bids.
And I don't have any.
Item 21, consider and or approve donations to Hutchinson County. It's just the supporting documents that Leisha sent us.
That's one.
Yeah.
Donations. Oh, no, Dan. Okay. Item 22, consider and or approve reports from elected or appointed officials as required by statute.
I just had one. Dwayne Chisholm, Road Superintendent, submitted written reports for dates July 10th, 2023 to July 23rd, 2023.
And I believe he sent that to everybody. Y'all get that? Here, let me give this to you. All right, item 23, discussion of county judges and commissioners precinct daily operations.
All the inspections are done on the roofs, everything's complete, 100% on the jail and courthouse.
We decided to.
Yeah, I'll go back to that.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all I got.
Anything else?
Museum bathrooms are being finished this week. They should be out of here the next day or two. So, and the library roof is scheduled to start tomorrow. They start delivering material. So that's all I got, I think,
Should be nice and hot.
but not stormy. I
Yeah,
was kind of glad they pushed it back because I was just afraid they're going to do it. And then we had
it
hail.
started and, yeah,
I guess I shouldn't be, because it's
Right.
still August is around the corner.
Panhandle Community Services, I guess, Judge, you might have put a bug in her ear again, reached out to me about the nuisance properties. We all went to that state dinner, remember? What was that, a year ago or so? And they said there was some funding and I kind of haven't heard back from them, so I didn't really think anything about it. But the Wall Street Journal is supposed to call us and they have about quite a bit, $1 million, but they want to hear a plan. And so I will be trying to come up with a plan. And I really don't have one right.
so they have grant funds available.
There are some grant funds.
Wait.
So,
Okay,
Did a lot of it on mowing.
yeah.
all right.
So I'll be, if y'all have
Working
any
on that.
ideas, or maybe a plan, maybe a house that we have a couple that have already been submitted. There's one in Golf Course Edition. And then there's one, or there's several that's been submitted out in Lake Meredith's area. If y'all, in Borger, just let me know and I'll add those to the plan per se, if they'll know something. That you just kind of look at and go, that might work. But again, I don't know what we're looking at or if we're looking at anything, so. And that all happened last week.
Good.
So thank you, Judge, for reminding them, or somebody did, because
I-
they called me out of the blue a year later, so.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, Gary? Anything?
No, we had a little problem with air conditioner at the
Oh.
annex, got it fixed, it was minor. That's about it.
All right, let's go back to 22 because I did change that. Before we just heard those people reports, but I've got consider and or approve. So I need a motion to accept those reports,
Oh,
the reports from the elected or appointed.
I move to approve the reports submitted to the court.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. And item 24 is consider and or approve the sale of struck off tax properties or tax deeds. So we have 3 deeds, I think, that we received. One is at 702 Madison. Is that Chris? Is that you? Oh,
There's more.
no.
Three.
Well, there's some tax. Yeah, there's these from the community group, and then there's 3 others. Okay, so that one is at 702 Madison, 324 North McGee, and 727 McPherson.
All 3 of them are open lot and through that communities group. So I make a motion to approve all 3 of their offers.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? And then the other ones, there's a property located at 612 Davis Street in Sanford. Submitting an offer of 400 was made by Clinton Bond. Taxes haven't been paid, I can't even read, since 2013. It was struck off June of 23, and the property was appraised at 27,690. Did you have a chance to look at that?
It's a structure, and I think it can be rehabbed.
It looks like a mess.
Yeah, I don't know, they're not talking about tearing the building down in his proposal.
So he says clean it up and make it usable.
Yeah. So I would like to counter offer that, because we did kind of the similar thing out based on what we did for $1,000.
Okay, so that's your motion.
Yes.
Mhm.
That was what we did at the one that was by the school.
Did I hear a second? Okay, we have a motion and second to counter offer.
I didn't say second. I said I was looking at your picture.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I will
I thought you did say. I'll second.
Y'all, so y'all don't get to, I forgot, y'all didn't get the pictures.
I was looking. at
Can you pull that up, Jerry?
That's what you want to say.
Did I give you that address?
No, you didn't.
612 Davis Street in Sanford.
But I did second after that.
I didn't go into the house like the pictures did. I just stood
Right.
outside and looked.
It looks pretty rough,
Yeah. And I'm shocked that they're rehabbing it.
right? I mean, you guys can look at the pictures if you want to. Y'all want to look at them? It looks pretty rough.
Now, when they rehab it in Sanford, the like the
If that
Property
ain't-
tax.
not-
Ordinances or something?
Yeah, do you know who approves it or like make sure it's structurally sound?
Oh.
Do they have a building standards,
No, they
anything
don't.
or anything?
They don't have any kind
Is
of,
that it?
Yes.
they don't have any kind of,
Right, is that it?
yeah, that's a little dated. What was that one? Oh, 2013. Yeah, it doesn't look like
Yeah,
that.
the pictures make
Yeah.
it look way worse, but of course, everything's overgrown now because
Yeah. But that is where it's located. But it's worse than that picture. But they are gonna rehab it and get it up and working.
the motion was to counter.
To counter at 1,000, because that's what we've done in the past with rehabbing.
And you're the nuisance guy, so if they don't.
All right, so we have a
Yeah.
motion and a second on that counter. Any further discussion on that? All in favor? I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget. All right, the next property is 120 Golden Drive in Fritz. Submitting an offer of 200 has been made by Clinton Bond. That was struck off in 23, and the property is valued at 3,990. And it's just a
vacant lot.
It's just a vacant
Oh,
lot.
I mean, there's stuff on it, but
He submitted an offer of 200.
I counter at 250. And or I motion to counter offer at 250.
We've done that.
Yeah.
For a while. I'll second.
Okay, we have motion and second. Any further discussion on that property? All in favor? And then we have property located at 305 Comanche Trail in Fritch. And submitting an offer of $400 by Clinton Bond. The property was struck off in June of 23. And this property was appraised at 22,540. Looks like it's in a little better shape.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's it's steps that are dilapidated and
This is that property.
this one's a little,
So that's it.
yeah. This one, I want you, I think 5,000, but I may be wrong. I didn't go in the property. I don't know what it are with it. I know we own it, right? So I could.
All the taxing and it chiefs do at
Yeah.
present.
But I didn't walk up there and go
Right.
into it.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's secure. Who knows?
And this is current. I mean, this is 2023, so that's what it looks like today.
Is that your motion?
I don't know. What do y'all think? It's 5,000. It's appraised at 20,000,
22.5.
22.5. I mean, it is rough looking, but I don't know. Most of the houses I've had since I've been commissioner has been almost need to be tore down
Right.
personally.
Right. I mean, that one looks,
So I don't know if
It
this one
looks
can
rough.
make it or not. So I kind of wanted to ask y'all's opinion. This is my first with a house that could actually service.
What are they offering?
they, 400.
I know I could default back to like I did with the Sanford one at 1,000. And I really don't even know what what I'm supposed to think about when I'm making these. Cause I look at it and go, oh yeah, this could be done. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing it.
Most entities spend 5 seconds on these and they just pass them.
Yeah.
Like most taxing entities just get it on. So.
It says the property has some very large dead trees and stumps and overgrown vegetation, piles of wood and lots of trash. Structure is a brick trailer home with inside gutted, total rebuild, as you can see from the pictures. Plumbing and electrical is needed, a lot of repair and a lot of it is missing, the meter box removed. $1,800 just to replace that, and of course, the roof is no good, so 4 to 5. So his thought is to repair and make the property worth appraisal price will cost around 20,000. You can tell the sewer is needing repaired or replaced.
That's a lot.
Cost, I think, to clean the property would be 1,000 if I hired a contractor.
He's a, or he or she, I mean, he's done the legwork on like, it sounds like he's.
You're getting ready to put some big money in that thing.
Okay.
500.
Oh, okay.
That's,
Well, if we did the Sanford at 1,000,
1,000.
I kind of want to be a little consistent. So I'm 1,000, okay? So that's what I did at Sanford. And it's going to need the exact same work at the Sanford building. Matter of fact, the Sanford one was worse.
It was. And it was appraised $5,000 more than this property. So you want to do it?
I'll move for 1,000. I counter offer 1,000 on this property.
Okay,
okay.
do I hear a second?
Sorry.
Any further discussion on this? All in favor? And let's see.
I very rarely get actual buildings. Mine are.
Right,
vacant
just empty
properties.
lots, yeah. All right, the final one is 500 Allen Avenue in Stinnett. Submitting an offer of 500 has been made by Daryl Wood of Stinnett. Taxes have not been paid since 2018. This was struck off in June of 23. And it is appraised at 3980.
Pull it up.
500 Allen.
We can pull it up.
Here's.
It is pretty dilapidated and windows knocked out. Been neglected. That's it.
Yeah.
That's fairly current too.
That was February 23.
Yeah. And it's really not too fixable. If you look in the back also, it's pretty bad shape. Yeah, it looks a lot worse than I know, but all growed up.
Yeah, that one's from January 13th. The back is old.
13.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
back's old.
it looks a whole lot worse than that now.
That's weird.
His intentions are to demolish the house and clean up the lot.
Oh.
He lives next door.
Mhm. Then add an addition to his existing home because they have the lot.
There's a lot of money got to be spent to haul it off.
What do you offer?
500.
I would, for the cleanup on it, I would make a motion to accept the 500.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, that's all the tax properties. So the next thing on the agenda is our budget work session, and I want to call y'all's attention to the information that I sent you from adult probation or community supervision corrections from, thank you, Julie, from Jennifer. And so as required by law, we are to review, the Commissioners Court is to take note and review of the budgets or initial budgets that she submits, which this is money from the state, correct, Lisa? This is state budget.
Yes.
So
this is
what-
our State funding.
What we have to do, and I believe I sent these to y'all in the Dropbox, is just look at these. This is money and how she's budgeted her state money that she's going to get. And then she meets with the district judges after we kind of put our stamp on this and say, yes, this looks good to us. Then she meets with the district judges for final approval. I don't know if I could answer any questions, or maybe Leisha could on this, but this is money she gets from the state, and I believe some of her officers are paid through state funds, correct? Well,
Everything in her department is state funded except for, like her
Office
telephone,
office stuff.
The county is only required to provide her with an office. All the rest of it is state funded, so she's basically kind of like her own little entity. So a part of her fiscal management manual does say that she has to file her budget with the court and give you the date that she's meeting with the
District
judges, which
Did she
it
say
was on
that?
the email.
No, and I didn't print that page, but she did say that she was meeting with them maybe next week.
I can pull it up.
I might could too. August 9th at 1
Yes.
to discuss and finalize the proposed budget.
To get it on file with the court.
So anybody have any questions on that, or
I didn't.
y'all good with all of it? She does a good job.
So what do we don't,
We just have to take note and file it with the commissioner's court,
There's no action.
basically, yeah. A real action. So, Leisha, do you have anything on budget stuff? Y'all,
It's almost ready to go.
Right.
The judge and I are gonna meet this afternoon still, right?
yes,
And look over it one more time, and then I will have it to you by the end of the day tomorrow. So that y'all will have it for the department workshops.
which you guys got that, right? Got the schedule. We're gonna meet August the 2nd at 9:30 and hear from some of the departments. And then August 7th, I've only heard from a couple. That's not gonna work for them, but we'll rearrange or do something. So I don't really know. Other than that, we don't have a lot of budget stuff to do today. We'll really get to it. So we should get our certified values hopefully today or tomorrow.
Tomorrow, they're supposed to be here by tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Usually Joe gets them to us earlier than that. So maybe today, but for sure tomorrow. And then Leisha will send out the budget. All
And this
of
will just be
everybody.
the expenditure side. We won't be able to get the revenue side until Terry does the tax worksheet, so we know what tax rates.
Right, right.
And then I'll do like last year and give you different scenarios at different rates. And I did want to, so I did plug in salaries in this budget that y'all will be looking at, and I just left it as what they are exactly. But we did increase we included the new insurance rates.
Right.
But I can also give you different scenarios on those if y'all want to throw out some that you want to see, whether you want to see a $200 a month. Or
Oh, on the
1%.
salaries.
Yes,
Yeah.
on the salaries. I'll be happy to get that ready by the 31st. You'll let me know what kind of pictures y'all want to see.
Yeah, I think if you could give us scenarios with a flat rate and scenarios with a percentage rate. You know, I don't even know what kind of a flat rate to throw out there. Does anyone have a thought on that?
we've been doing the 125, 150 a month. Is what we've done since I've been
Right.
here.
This past year was $200.
2, I think, wasn't it?
$200.
Two.
Last year we did a 200 flat rate.
I have a list from forever ago of the different raises each year and so y'all ever want to know? No.
I mean, that might be handy if you want to send,
It's kinda-
send that out to everyone so they have that information.
Yeah, it shows that they had, there was no raises
Or a percentage raise.
And I can do as many as you want, my spreadsheets.
Traditionally, we'll do like maybe a percentage flat rate. And then percentage flat rate. I mean, there's no rule,
I won't vote for percentage ever.
so there's no rule to that, so. But
About the
Flat
percentage
rate.
when you have that. higher-
yeah, it
Okay, you're
it-
getting-
makes things
Yeah,
get even further apart. Yeah.
yeah.
If you do on the flat rate stuff, I mean, you could do like 100, 200, 300, and we could fall somewhere in the middle of those. You don't have to do like every 50 or anything like that. It just kind of give us a starting thing.
Well, I mean, to say what you said, to respond to what you just said, whether it matters or not, we can talk about it later, but what Judge stated is how most organizations would do it to keep the superior or the supervisor at a different level. So you go flat rate, percentage, flat rate, percentage. So, because if you just do flat rate, they can catch each other if you don't do it right. But either way matters. You can do whatever you want. Apparently, people have a disagreement. So I will shut up. You'll be happy about that.
That's what we're here for. We're here to talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to do it more often.
Yeah.
So the scenarios, y'all want me to budget just flat rates and no percentages?
No, I would like to see the percentages too.
Okay, just like a. What kind of?
Start at two, say 2, 3, 4.
Okay, I will try to have that by the 31st.
With faith in. And then hopefully we can have the budget out to all the departments.
Yes, I'm planning on it by the end of the day tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I've kind of been telling everyone.
Hopefully sooner than the end of the day, but I'm giving myself to the end of the day. 'Cause
Right.
I never know what's gonna pop on. Desk or office.
If you don't get it done, I'll take your 2%.
All right, anybody have anything else for today? Got a lot of work to do ahead, so. If we're done, I hear a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
They want to stay here. or
Everybody
what?
wants to stay.
Gonna die for lack of a second.
I'll second.
That's right over there. Just trying to
Okay.
get 2%.
All in favor?